Okay, hello everybody, I'm Conquering History Games, and welcome to episode lucky 21 of my Malenyevist campaign here in Suzerain. I've spent a good amount of time sitting and reading through these and thinking about these, like which of these presidential powers to enact, because I've got three of them that I could use. And, I think I've got my three down because what sort of helped, what I ended up doing is I actually eliminated a lot of them because I figured, oh, well, some of these things are just doing things that I would do anyway. So, for example, like gender equality in education, we could do that by decree, but I'm sure that the way the game is set is that it just shows you every option that's available, even if you're doing other stuff that does the same thing. So the gender equality in education, we don't need to do a decree for that because I already investigated, not investigated, I already invested is what I meant to say. I've already invested in education, building rural schools, changing their curriculums, bringing like I'm already doing that in other parts of the game. So while gender equality might be something that is Malenyevist, that is socialist in nature, um, it wouldn't actually make sense for me to do it here because I've already got it going on. So here's what I ended up deciding to do. We're going with the planned economy, and that planned economy is doing quite well so far. What we're gonna do is we're gonna establish the fair trade and competition commission. Trade and commerce in Swordland has few regulatory measures, resulting in unfair competition at times. A new fair trade commission can be established via decree to push for fair market competition by protecting local industries through new regulations. So we're going to, anything that we haven't nationalized yet, we're going to say, hey, we're going to regulate you more. And then, over time we can nationalize more perhaps. So we're going to do that. This purging of the general staff, it seems like it's an anti-coup measurement, although I'm still a little bit worried about if I try to purge them, then will they just coup me anyway? Like, does that trigger the coup, ironically? I hope not. So Swordland's history is riddled with coups, and there is always the danger of another one happening due to the tremendous influence the general staff has. Purging the general staff and replacing them with loyal but less experienced counterparts will tip the fragile balance in the army, but we will be able to act with more safety and security. So we're going to do that. And then some of these other ones I really thought about. I thought about stuff like removing the public religious symbols, but again, I thought, well, first off, the Bloods are religious, and I want to do good stuff for the Bloods. But also, we've already banned creationism in the schools, so I don't think we need to remove those public symbols. What else did I consider? I considered desolinization, but we're going to put him on trial. So I think, when we send him to jail, that ought to be enough of a reason. Then again, I don't know, maybe he won't go to jail. I don't know how the investigation works. And then, there was just different things. Like relocating doctors and teachers to rural areas. Again, I've already done that. I don't need to do it via a decree. So what I ultimately decided to do is we're going to remove the independence of the central bank as part of our planned economy strategy. The central bank is independent to determine the monetary policies of the country. A new decree would remove the independence of the central bank by putting it under the presidency, giving the executive more direct control over monetary strategy. Those are my three. And stuff like the free medicine. We're doing the universal health care, and like things like that. So we don't. Yeah, I think these are the three. So let's do it. Knock on wood. You are about to use your powers to change the law in Swordland. Are you sure about your decisions? Yes. Following a brief discussion, I took notes about my decision. This is big, Anton. Purging the general staff. I hope it works. We can finally curb the power of the military over Swordish politics. The generals will not like this, but there's nothing they can do about it. As long as we are swift. they won't have the time to organize and plan something treacherous. Also, the central bank gained its independency during Alfonso's term. Backtracking from that decision so quickly might be damaging. But it will help us control the economy better. The state should have significant control over its own money to be able to plan ahead. Edith will be pissed. He laughed. But anyway. That's a nice one. This is about the Fair Trade Commission. The commission will be essential in dealing with the monopolies. It was time we established a body that regulates economic competition. Well, we both respect your decisions, Anton. But now that everything's settled, I should get to work. We'll catch up soon. We actually have 6 more minutes. But very well, let's call it here. Thank you both. Alright. Oh! Look at that economy! Did you guys see that? Look at that. We're only 1 bar away. Alright. So, a lot of codex changes have happened. Lots of different stuff has happened. Okay. Let's go through these one at a time. So let's look at the factions. The Old Guard, it looks like Lilius Graf is now in charge. There goes Hawker. Let's take a look at the new Judiciary. Ooh, this is interesting. Oh, so we have a bunch of empty seats. So it says centrist, but the seats are actually empty. We have a brand new centrist justice. Who's this? Dieder Millet. Dieder Millet is a Swedish jurist, an academician. I'm not sure that's the proper word. Probably just academic is the proper word. Anyway, because jurist, academic could be an adjective and a noun. I'm pretty sure. Anyway. He serves as a... We'd have to consult an academician. But anyway. He serves as the Dean of the Faculty of Law at Holsworth State University. He graduated from Morna University Faculty of Law and received his PhD from the University of Perla in Lesbia. He later became a judge in the Holsworth Court of Civil Appeals in 1940. Maillet returned to his academic career in 1940 as a professor of law and later was appointed as the Dean of the Faculty of Law at Holsworth State University. During his service in the Holsworth State University, Maillet became famous for his conservative practices. Despite his close ties to the United Swordland Party and the Sole Administration, he wasn't appointed to the High Court of Appeals, which he allegedly has asked for numerous times. What? I'm a little confused here. Huh. I don't know. Yeah, okay, so it says we have 5 centrists and 4 reformists now. I don't exactly understand what's going on here. Maybe it's a part of the game they want to update later and they haven't totally figured out. So I changed the USP's party manifesto to be socialist. I ordered a complete reshuffling of the entire Supreme Court. So probably what it is some of these seats are actually just empty at the moment. I don't know, it's a little weird. Okay, country overview. Military. We've got green generals. They're fairly inexperienced and there's military involvement in politics, but it respects the political process to some degree. Okay, a lot of news. Commission to ensure competition and free trade, so we can compete against international companies by filing anti-competition lawsuits. Central bank liberated from the top 1%. With their interests lie not in the good of the country but in themselves. They've been nothing but puppets dancing to the influences of outside nations such as Arcadia and Lesbia. The president's action today has severed the strings of control from them, moving Sworthland to be a powerful independent nation as a whole. Reassigning the general staff. Hard to fathom why they were doing this. President is now in control of the judiciary. He dismissed all 11 of the Supreme Court justices on suspicion of corrupt conduct, deliberate obstruction of justice, and unconstitutional behavior, all of which they denied. Orso Hawker has criticized the ruling and said the process was unconstitutional, while the officials from the administration defended the decision, saying the process followed the recent changes to the Constitution to the point which gave the president the power to impeach and dismiss any active Supreme Court justice and was completely legal. Alright. Rain's spring cleaning. Unexpected was the word on our minds when we first heard of President Rain's attempt at spring cleaning. With his new decree, he decided to get rid of the entirety of his opposition in the army with one big sweep. Undoubtedly, this was a move to protect himself in his seat, but at the same time, there was nothing to do but welcome it, as a way to lessen the great influence these generals have over our country. Let's see, the new justice system. This is a serious blow against the justice system. He's replaced them with his own people. The Swordland is drifting away from democracy. Another step towards reign dictatorship because of the bank. We're going back to the Dark Ages. If you're not free in your decision to invest belong to the government, you are not free if you can't express your opinion behind the government because the government is pulling you from behind. Wait, what? Circling over stuff. I don't know about all that. But let's kind of just ignore the Supreme Court. I think this is just a little strange. This whole thing. Yeah, just whatever. Probably got a way to turn or something. Okay, what's next? Trade talks with the Chancellor of Vogsland. We departed from Lokoven until we got to Wilburn, a major city in Valgsland. Okay. Mr. President, I'm surprised you are still up this late. I could say the same thing about you. Good point. I don't like sleep. I feel like it's wasted time. After all, almost 1/3 of our lives are spent sleeping. Do you mind if I ask why you can't sleep? Are you also worried about the future all the time? I am an old man, Mr. President. I've been alive for more than 70 years. I spent most of those years worrying about various things endlessly. What I realized in my time is that worrying is simply part of life. As the mankind, we are forever gullible. We always think about reaching out for what we don't have. And a part of what we don't have are the choices we could have made and their results. Thank you for your wisdom, David. Anytime, Mr. President. It's getting chilly out here. I must go now and try to get some sleep. I'm an old man after all. I recommend you do the same. I will stay a little longer. Very well. Good night. I watched the sea for some more time before going back to my apartment to sleep. The dawn arrived and our ship moored at the busy port of Velburn. Among the usual flashes from cameras, we made our way to the train station in a convoy where we took the train to Hailem for an uneventful trip. We arrived at the central train station of Hailem, the capital city of Valgsland. There was an incredible amount of people waiting for us. I stepped out of the train and immediately flashes went off. I left my mug in the kitchen. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back and I got my drink. Our delegation met with various members of the Vogslandian cabinet. We took the cars and arrived at the royal palace. The flags of Vogsland and CSP were waving next to the entrance. Assistants took my belongings and led me to the museum wing. It was there I saw Chancellor Hagel. He was inspecting a very large painting on the wall. Alright, let's review these countries, shall we? This is Valgsland. The Democratic Republic of Valgsland, commonly known as Valgsland, is a socialist republic situated on the island of Valgos and several small islands. It is governed by the People's Party of Hailem as its capital. Chancellor Emmerich Hagel currently serves as the head of government. Before the Volg tribe settled on the island of Valgos in the 11th century, the area was inhabited mainly by the Tribic Galmanic people. Due to being isolated on the island for centuries, they developed a distinct islander culture, moving further away from its cultural roots, which they share with the cultures of Mark and Sword. During the 16th century, the Kingdom of Valgos greatly expanded its borders in the race of colonization of the Rika and Gina continents, and was later declared to be the Empire of Valgos. For much of the period until the 19th century, Valgos had the largest navy in the world. It was considered to be the superpower of the seas. The Democratic Republic of Vogsland was formed in 1920, following the Vogslandian Revolution, led by the revolutionary Wilhelm Ulbricht. Ulbricht overthrew the monarchy, and inspired by Leon Malenyev's revolution in United Kontana, established a socialist state in accordance with the ideals of Malenyevism. Following the revolution, the new government gave the old colonies of Valgos independence and replaced the old economic model with a command economy. Ulbricht's term saw many purges, arrests, and killings under the reasons for protecting the revolution. Emmerich Hagel was elected chancellor in 1940 following the death of Wilhelm Ulbricht. So that would have been 26 years earlier now, because I think we're in 1956. He started a period of de-Ulbrichtization and enacted many reforms which started a less repressive era in Vogsland. He reorganized the People's Party and distanced it from Malenyevist lines. He promoted what he called Vogslandian socialism and greatly reformed the country according to those ideals. In recent years, huge reforms of Hegel have diminished the role of the Revolutionary People's Party and increased public participation in politics. The nation has a stable economy and strong civil rights record with average political freedoms. Valgslandian people have no unemployment problems and enjoy higher standards of living compared to other socialist republics. It has recently been selected as an example state on civil rights by the Alliance of Nations after the revolutionary reforms of Emmerich Hagel. As a member of the Continental Security Pact, which was created against the growing threat of Arcasian capitalism and neo-imperialism, it is also a member of the Organization for Mercopian Economic Development, aka OMEC. Whoops. Let's go back. And a permanent member of the Alliance of Nations. So that's who they are. You know, obviously there's a lot of like the Isles in there. You know, Great Britain and that, like the British Empire. There's just so much. They really just threw a lot of stuff into a blender here with Valgsland. But it's interesting. Like, you know, it doesn't repeat our history, but it rhymes. All right, Emmerich Hagel. Emmerich Hagel is a Vogslandian politician and communist revolutionary who currently serves as the Chancellor of the Democratic Republic of Valgsland. He is also the chairman of the People's Party of Valgsland. Hegel played a leading role in the 1920 revolution and the establishment of the Democratic Republic of Valgsland. He was also responsible for many relatively liberal reforms in areas of domestic policy. Hegel was a political commissar during the Valgsland Revolution. He fought aside the famous revolutionary Wilhelm Ulbricht, who led the revolution inspired by the Malenyevist revolution in United Contana. Hegel extensively helped Ulbricht with the establishment of the People's Party. With Chancellor Ulbricht's help, he worked his way up the Vogslandian hierarchy. He supported Ulbricht's purges and the arrest of thousands of anti-communists in the 1930s. He worked extensively for the decolonization of the Rica and Gina continents. So Rica and Gina, they basically seem to be like South America and Africa. They're these continents that the major powers of the world had just colonized, and they've only recently been decolonized. And so they're trending socialist, and you know, United Contana wants to aid with that, and of course Valgsland as well because they're part of the CSP. So when you hear Rica and Gina, think like colonial continents. Where's the music at? Hold on. What's going on here? Okay. So there's after Ulbricht's death in 1940, he being Hegel, was elected by the People's Party as the Chancellor of Vogsland. He started a period of de-Ulbrichtization where he denounced his purges, which he had supported earlier, and enacted many reforms which started a less repressive era in Vogsland. He reorganized the People's Party and distanced it from Malenyevist lines. He promoted what he called Vogslandian socialism. Despite his reforms that shifted Vogsland away from Malenyevism, he brought the country closer to United Contana, both economically and diplomatically. He also greatly improved the relations with the old colonies of the Volgos Empire. So, Hegel, obviously that's in reference to Hegel, who was philosophically one of the mentors towards Marx, which is not to say that Hegel himself was a communist. Hegel is a very important figure, actually, when it comes... I'm talking about the real-life Hegel, like Friedrich Hegel. Friedrich Hegel is an extremely important person when you're studying, like, history in a philosophical way, the trends of humanity. Because Hegel, he's one of those people that you gotta have an opinion on him. You've gotta have one, whether you like him or not. I'm not going to discuss that at the moment, but you know, Hegel didn't just inspire Marx. He also inspired other philosophies, so that are kind of broadly dispersed into the left Hegelians and the right Hegelians. And allegedly there's one person who was both, because he also had a pen name where he would argue with himself, but that's a whole other thing. Anyway, so this guy though, this Hegel, so yeah, he's got a couple of different real-world parallels. I think he's supposed to most closely represent, Khrushchev, although Khrushchev that has lasted longer, and with him not being so quite in lockstep with mainstream thought Malenyevism, he could perhaps be also And you know, with his background too, and his age, his length of leadership, you could maybe also compare him a bit to Marshal Joseph Bronze Tito, and things like that. But there's a lot going on there. You know, there's some Chinese references. It's a blender. It's a blender with these guys. Anyway, let's go talk with them, shall we? Comrade Hagel. Oh, I didn't think of a voice to give him. He turned around. He was a man of small stature, with a balding spot and a striking visage. Oh yeah, and also I think he's meant to look a little bit like Lenin too. Like, not full-blown Lenin, but I think some of Lenin's face is in here. His famous pipe was in his mouth. After a quick glance, he smiled and opened his arms. We hugged, and he patted me on the shoulder. Hold on a second. I'm going to do a cut. I'm going to pull up a Khrushchev speech so I can kind of try to get the voice down. But I think I want to kind of do like a pseudo-Khrushchev. Okay, that took a little longer than I thought. Every freaking speech I was finding, it's, you know, somebody dubbing over it with the translation, which is good and all, but it was getting a little annoying. So I was like, God, can I just find footage of this guy speaking? I don't know why I ever look up these voices. I'm not good at impersonations, but we're going to try. We are certainly going to try. So... Comrade Rain, it is good to see you. I wanted to meet with you in person for a long time. It's a pleasure to finally meet with you. He gestured toward the painting. This was made in 1776 by the famous Vogslandian painter Otto Kieper. He looked at the painting. It must have been over 5 meters tall. It was a battle scene. On the left side, there were banners carried by Valgs, and on the right, swords. Countless spears formed a triangle at the center, and the sky was red from the blood. What did you think about it? Let's see. I think we have come far. After all, we are standing here side by side, instead of a battlefield. We can do so much more through unity, Comrade Rain. Started murmuring. To me, this painting tells me how far we have come. Swords and Vogs might have had troubles in the past, but looking past that, we are brothers of old. No other two countries understand each other more in the world. It's great to hear these important words coming from you. He nodded and pointed toward another painting which was almost as large as the first one. A burning city was depicted. Looking closer, I realized it was Conderia. The Great Fire of Conderia. Okay, so this is an important thing. We need to discuss this. Great Fire of Conderia. In the year 1789, the navy of the Empire of Valgos, encouraged by the Renan army fighting in Rumburgan territory, sailed across the sea. During the first night of June, as many residents of Conderia were asleep, the fleet destroyed several patrol boats and got within a kilometer of the harbor. The Valgsland fleet, without any formal declaration of war, let loose a barrage at the Swedish main fleet anchored at port and sunk most of the navy, even before the sailors could get to their ships. Then the 80-ship-strong fleet loaded incendiary shots and fired barrage after barrage towards the city for 3 days. The fire spread so fast that many people couldn't even escape their own homes and burned alive. By the time the Renan family had received the news, it was all too late. The strategically significant Swedish navy was destroyed, and the Renan army couldn't do anything due to the ongoing conflict with Rumburg. Records indicate that 90% of the city was destroyed that day. More than 40,000 people lost their lives, including 8,000 soldiers who couldn't even retaliate. After this point, Valgos claimed sea dominance, and the Renan navy never recovered fully. Many Swedish citizens today regard the sit-in as the great betrayal, but the current Valgsland government condemns the act and detaches itself from the acts of their previous government of Valgos. Well, yeah, it was like almost 200 years earlier. The socialists were behind the Great Fire. No, shut up! I don't care if it was an empire that did it. Yeah. So that's the thing that people have been bringing up whenever I mention being friendly with Valgsland. The most shameful event in the entire Valgsland history. The scars of it must still be aching. Another result of the evil of imperialism. Well said, Comrade Rain. Thankfully, we have cut the head of the snake called imperialism here in Valgsland. Guard approached Chancellor. If you'll excuse me for 1 minute. See, here's the thing, because I don't have my face cam on here, I can't do all my gesticulations for my Khrushchev impersonation. I saw a more recent painting depicting the upheaval of farmers against an aristocrat. What did you say? Hagel's loud voice echoed in the empty halls. Give the miners what they want. As for the director of the company, I want him to face a trial for undermining the workers of Valgsland. Relay it to the ministers of justice at once. No one can exploit our people and expect to get away with it. After receiving the order, the guard hastily left. Hagel walked over to me. Sorry about that. You know how it is. Okay. What was that about? A director of a foreign joint venture mining corporation decided not to pay his miners the full amount for 2 consecutive months. He will be handled. Revolution is a slow process, Comrade Rain. Slow, but sure. Follow me. We will have a short breakfast. We made our way to the exquisite dining room. I looked around and everything seemed to have made of the colors gold, white, blue, and white. A local delicacy, smoked bear meat, was served with eggs. After a very delicious meal, we sat down on the 2 couches. I immediately saw a portrait of Leon Malenyev staring down at me. What can you tell me about Comrade Malenyev? Ah, you have spotted the portrait. Well, where do I begin? Comrade Malenyev is a good friend of mine. Although I don't agree with him on every matter, he demands respect. Vogslandian socialism aims to eliminate the power of the state, through, and you can read that on the right if you want, as through promotion of responsibility, freedom, and well-being of the people. Oh, he's kind of old, huh? I should age his voice. Being of the people. One of our key cornerstones is the devolution of society to smaller councils with high citizen participation. We believe that the revolution in Valgsland is stable enough that we do not need the vanguardist approach of Malenyevism. We are already in the process of such transformation. However, our revolution here in Vogsland owes a great deal to Malenyev. He is the father of Malenyevism and symbol of global revolution. Hold on. There we go. Not only is he the first communist revolutionary leader of the world, he managed to unite a whole continent, forming the greatest country in the world. Comrade Rain, if you like, I can put in a good word for you with Comrade Malenyev. I have a feeling you would get along with him. Would you like that? That would be really good, thank you. Very well. 2 cups of coffee were brought by an assistant. I took a sip while he lit his pipe. Let's begin then. Now, before you say anything... Oh, I got a little sip myself here. Not coffee though, because I'm not an old man. I think you'll be glad to hear that I accept the deal. I've had my doubts at the beginning, but they were cleared once I met you in person. Same goes for me too, Comrade Hagel. Thank you. What's the deal or two between Valgsland and Swordland? We have so much more possibility between our countries. I will sign the paper shortly. He got up from his seat, walked over to the window, and looked outside. Now that that is out of the way, there are 2 things on my mind. He turned to me. I think you and I are like-minded people, Comrade Rain. I would like to solidify our newfound friendship and admiration over a military alliance between Vogsland and Swordland. A pact that connects the 2 continents. No, it's much more than that. The strongest pact that ever came to be in between the Volks and Swords. He clenched his fist and looked at me. What do you say, Comrade Rain? Are you ready to achieve greatness together with me? I accept, Comrade Hagel. May this brighten the future for both of our countries. Most excellent. He called an assistant nearby. A moment later, the assistant returned with 2 shots of vodka. In Valgsland, we drink on a contract, Comrade Rain. We clinked our glasses, hold on, and did our shots. I don't have liquor with me right now, but that'll have to do. The strong taste of alcohol turned into a sweeter aftertaste. Well, that's great when the liquor does that. Hagel looked down for a moment, and he returned back to the window to look outside with his arms crossed behind his back. You know who pisses me off? Those damn Magnolians who claim our land is their own. Like it's not enough. They kill my people in their homes in Hageland, slaughtering them like mere cattle. Imagine they did that to Swordish people. What would you do, Comrade Rain? Comrade Hagel, I urge calm on the matter. No one wants war.
Vogsland is being attacked. Agnolia wants war. How could I stay calm? If they want to mess with Valgsland, they will see our might.
He turned to me and put his hand on my shoulder. Comrade Rain, I am planning on invading Hegeland to save Vogslandian citizens from the clutches of the murderous Agnolians. Don't worry. I don't wish to pull Swordland into this conflict in any way. This is not your battle after all. What I want from you is simple. I can't risk international backlash, but if I have you, if I have Swordland behind our cause, everything will be easier. I want you to recognize Hegeland as Vogslandian territory. What do you say, Comrade Rain? Are you with me? I am with you, Comrade Hagel.
Then it is time.
We have achieved a lot today, Comrade Rain.
Another!
Oh, I got an achievement. Vogslandian vodka. Okay, cool. The assistant immediately showed up with 2 shots of vodka. We gulped down the shots after clinking. As the assistant collected the empty glasses, he whispered in Hagel's ear. His eyes widened and he clenched his fists in anger.
Agnolians did what?
He composed himself and smiled at me. Comrade Rain, I'm afraid you'll have to excuse me. There is a matter I need to attend to. Is there anything I can help with? Thank you for the offer, but no. Have a good day and enjoy hail. We shook hands and Hagel left in a hurry. I returned to Wholesword with good news. Oh, and I got another achievement. Through broken shackles. I don't know what these things mean. Hold on. Suzerain achievements. Let me hold on. I'm gonna look this up real quick. I need to go on like the Steam community thing. All right. Control F. Vodka. Yeah, drink Vogslandian vodka with Comrade Hagel. Only 2.8% of people have done that. Nice. And then shackles. Through broken shackles, make a military alliance with Valgsland. Only 5% of people have done that. Nice. What is the least used? I'm checking this out in the other one, by the way. So it looks like the one that the least amount of people have done it is called 638 Ways to Kill Rain, where you have to survive 2 assassination attempts. Oh boy. Sounds difficult. Alright. We've got a trade deal. We got allied, and we made the recognition. Okay, well, I think that's a good way to stop it. I'm loving that green bar up here on the economy. I'm wondering when the government budget goes up. Maybe it's like next fiscal year or something. Oh boy. And then in the next episode, looks like we're going to be meeting with, Peter. So we got wheat trade with Valgsland, so there's that excess stuff. We had the wheat from Bergia. We're doing trade tariffs with Lesbia. They put tariffs on us. Okay, fuck them, I guess. And we have a free trade zone with Valgsland, tightening our economic bonds and improving the relationship. We're doing joint military exercises with our allies as well. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining me on Conquering History Games. In the next episode, we're going to have a meeting with Peter. I'll see you then. Bye.